Welcome. It's No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I'm your host, Rick Becker, and our co-host, Lori Hintz.
Good to be here.
Good to have you here. All right. We've got, tonight is jam-packed with guests.
Yeah, we have a lot of
guests and more guests, and it's going to be interesting stuff.
Really interesting topics to talk about.
Yep.
So
all across the board, all across
the country, too,
and
by
all
the
across
way.
the country. Got some Hawaii visitors. Hawaii. So, first segment tonight, I want to talk about some of the stuff that's in the news with regard to unemployment, with regard to the expanded unemployment insurance benefits. Those ended this last weekend, as we all know. And those have been a hotly contested government policy for quite some time on whether they contribute to the ongoing unemployment, the ongoing jobs, posts, vacancies, unfilled positions. And back in the end of June, after April numbers came out in May, Montana led the pack. Governor, is it Greg?
Gianforte.
Yeah, Gianforte, I think it's Greg. Governor Gianforte in Montana said, you know what, forget this, we are not going to take the federal unemployment. And what a nice, bold step.
Right?
How come we can't have a governor that's bold? At any rate, and so the other than, it's like a wedding, Lori. It's like a wedding dance. Nobody's on the dance floor until the first one's out, and then suddenly, boom, 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 the dance floor is filled.
Too. That'd be
That's
great.
right.
Yeah.
So a bunch of other states, after Montana said, yeah, we're not going to do it anymore, also jumped on the bandwagon, including North Dakota, which is great. And at the end of June, I believe it was, we said, yeah, we're not going to have our people do the expanded unemployment benefits either. Pull up our first story here. So there are a number of stories that intertwine with this. The first is from Center Square. And what they say here is that the economy created only a third of the jobs expected in August. And that's very significant. So they say that there were an increase of 235,000 jobs for August. However, what they were expecting was 720,000.
Wow.
Unemployment fell from 5.4% to 5.2%. However, keep in mind that before the pandemic, it was at 3.5 or 3.4%. And also, right now, there are 8.4 million people still unemployed.
Not exactly the jobs report that they had
No,
hoped.
nope. There were, prior to the pandemic, 5.7 million unemployed. But again, I want to go back to this number. 8.4 million still unemployed. There are 10.9 million job openings.
Well,
okay.
That's kind of ridiculous.
Right.
Yet.
All right. So the Foundation for Economic Education also has a story. And there you've got your sweetheart, Governor Ron DeSantis. I'm sorry,
think
you guys.
He's great.
Yes.
He is not my sweetheart.
He's your
Happily married.
Oh, I know you are.
I like
Love
DeSantis.
knows no bounds, Lori.
I do really like him.
Okay. So the Foundation for Economic Education story says that there is a new study that vindicates states that had canceled expanded unemployment welfare early. And what it says is that the expanded unemployment, which had been going on, by the way, for a year and a half, repeatedly extended because of the lack of spine by many politicians.
Indeed.
And those benefits equaled up to $25 an hour for a family of two. In another story, indicated if both of the providers were unemployed, were getting on average $72,000 a year.
Right, think about
crazy,
that.
crazy
That is,
stuff.
that's insane.
But at any rate, this particular article indicates that many of the states that ended the benefit early, initial reports were indicating that those states did not see any improvement.
Oh.
Yes, Wall Street Journal came out. So there were a lot of, but the thing is, if you read into them, it's sort of like, that's not really what it says. So Foundation for Economic Education is pointing out, wait a minute, now there's a study that's actually a very good study that shows that there was a tremendous improvement. And in fact, the states that ended those enhanced unemployment benefits early, like North Dakota, saw a increase in jobs being filled twice the amount, twice the number of states that didn't end it early.
Which is what you would expect if people are getting people back to work, right? I mean, you would expect that.
Well, it makes sense.
It makes sense.
let's pull up the study itself. The Mercatus Center has this study, and there's a lot of great information in here. And Mercatus Center, by the way, if you're not familiar with it, is a wonderful organization that does a lot of good work. Now, in this study, they indicate, and it's not so much the study itself, but it's the discussion in the study that I think is so interesting. And what they say is that unemployment insurance, from its conception, had been designed to mitigate the anticipated effect of reducing participants' return to work. So people are aware of that. And the way it does that, the way it reduces that perverse incentive, if you will, is that the benefits should be relatively low, maybe 40% of what people make, because, again, you want them to find work. They need to be of limited duration, generally no more than 26 weeks, because so it's understood if you keep going, people are not going to even try to find work. Not only that, but also in my reading I found that the longer a person's on unemployment, on average, their future income decreases because they've lost connections, they're out of the market, they're out of practice, if you will.
Networking. Right?
Yes. Also that there needs to be a restricted program eligibility. So only people who were consistently employed, you don't just do it, and that there must be a program exit. So participants must accept a job if it is offered to them. And
that did not happen.
It did not happen.
Yeah.
So now what we have found that as time has gone on, the strength of the pandemic-based arguments, like childcare and fear and all of that, those have weakened significantly. With the widespread availability of vaccines for adults, that kind of took away, well, gosh, we can't. There was research done by the Council of Economic Advisors that the families that had child care, they did not actually reduce the amount of work overall.
Really?
Yes. So the lack of child care isn't the reason. Now, obviously there are exceptions.
Well, of course.
Clearly there are exceptions. But overall, looking at the country as a whole, that's not the reason. And then also the more recent availability of child care again when the vaccines became available for those workers. So what we've got then is some interesting, I think, pull up our next story. It's from CNN. We've got this information now, and we know that, in fact, the enhanced unemployment benefits did cause, through this Mercatus study, did cause an increase in the unemployment, an increase in the unfilled job positions, and an increase in the duration and the severity by which our economy is not returning to normal. And, by the way, they didn't say this, but clearly a cause for the increase in lack of supplies in products. I mean, go to the store and some shelves are empty. Try and order a piece of furniture, forget it. So that's all part of it. But what we have here is CNN, jobless Americans left scrambling after pandemic unemployment benefits end. Now, what they're saying, for instance, they give a couple of examples. They find those individual people that are the exception to the rule. They found someone who can't go back, they allege, because of child care. And because of concerns with Delta variant and so forth. They point to the fact that there will be 8 million people that lose their unemployment benefits. But again, what they're looking at are the single sort of exceptions to the rule. Our last story is in contradistinction to the previous story. It depends on how you look at things. Is the glass half full or the glass half empty? We have here from Fox Business, on Labor Day 2021, the end of enhanced unemployment benefits bring hope to U.S. small businesses.
If you contrast that with the previous story was the CNN, doom and gloom, these people are going to be off, and then this is a little more optimistic.
Yep. And in this story, they point out that 9 out of 10 of the lowest unemployment states are the ones that stopped the enhanced unemployment insurance early. And as their final quote in this particular story, they say, quote, "For small businesses, the battle against bad government policies never ends. But at least this Labor Day weekend, they can take a moment to cheer." Yep. Yeah, so there you go. Bravo.
Yes.
All right, next up, we've got a special guest, folks. Why don't you stick with us? We will be right back.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
At Beck Communications, we've been planning for your future. Over the past decade, we've placed nearly 200,000 miles of dedicated fiber optics in the ground. Enough fiber optic strands to circle the world 8 times. Taking no shortcuts, we connected every home and business in our service area with dedicated fiber optics. It's your personal, unrestricted, unthrottled connection to the world. Best of all, this dedicated fiber means you do not share your connection. We call this intimate dedicated connection Beck Fiber.
Welcome back to No Apologies. We now have with us a special guest, Kristy Rose. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm acting ebullient. Do you like that word, Lori?
I do. That's a very good word.
It just popped into my head.
Excellent.
So, however, we have a really kind of a difficult topic.
Yep.
And you reached out and you had some experiences with regard to COVID, with regard to a loved one, and kind of how you saw things playing out with the Department of Health, their wall. I'm not sure what they call it, a wall of
COVID impact wall.
COVID impact wall. And so if you would, for our viewers, maybe explain a little bit of your story and how it is that you're here now tonight.
Okay. So both my husband and my father had COVID, and my father passed away in the hospital. And my mom and I have been dealing with that and his care and what happened while he was in the hospital. And she found this COVID impact wall last week. I guess it just launched, and it's part of the Department of Health. And I said, let's do it. And when I looked at it, I thought, this is interesting, the stories they're sharing, but I'm going to go ahead and share honestly. So Mom posted about my dad having been hospitalized with COVID, and some of the questions of care that happened or didn't happen while he was there, and that we were not able to see him while he was hospitalized, though all of us had had it or had been vaccinated. And then when they gave him a 30% chance of living, they still didn't let us see him. And then he died before we got to see him. And she shared about his that he wasn't given antibiotics even though his infection markers were elevated and whatever. And then we also posted about my husband, who was hospitalized in February at the same hospital and received fabulous care, and received medications that my dad did not, and fully recovered, to the point that when he sees his primary care now, which he sees regularly because of his other conditions, the primary care and his cardiologist and everything listen to his lungs and say, "We can't believe that you had COVID.
Wow.
Your lungs sound good as new." We submitted that story. We also submitted my story, which the kids and I also had COVID while my husband did. And we stayed home and we treated it with a handful of supplements and vitamins and a lot of pineapple juice and green tea and tonic water, and fully recovered with no issues and no problems.
Wow.
2 days later, my mom called in a panic and said, "Your dad's story is up on the wall." But they didn't tell the whole thing. And it took me a while to find it, and I did find it in the memorial section of the COVID impact wall. And sure enough, they had removed 2 or 3 sentences, the ones that talked about how he had not received antibiotics despite his markers. He had not received ivermectin like my husband had, and I think there might have been something else about another med that he was not given. So they only posted the part about how he had COVID and he died with it, and we didn't get to see him. So it was really not a complete picture because that wasn't the point of the story. And so I read their terms thinking, well, maybe we agreed to let them edit out stuff. And I read some of the other postings. I'm like, these are all fear-based. These are all to promote fear in the readers. And the terms say very clearly that you give permission to the Department of Health to edit your story for things like grammar and continuity or whatever. It actually says that they will not edit it to change the meaning of your story.
Really?
They changed the meaning of my dad's story.
Right.
And then they didn't post my story and they didn't post my husband's story. But if you go on there, you'll read all the horror stories of the effects of COVID, but not the positive stories.
Interesting.
Let me ask you, there's a lot wrong with this. I want to just, when was it that your father passed?
May 17th.
May 17th. And why were you not allowed to see him?
Well, because he was in the COVID ward and he had COVID, and it's a very serious illness. This is me being sarcastic, but this is what my mother was told. It's a very serious illness and we don't want you to get sick. And when she finally talked to the doctor again after he'd been in the hospital 7 days and care had been switched around and all this crazy stuff had happened, that doctor said, "This is very serious and your husband is a very seriously sick man. He only has 30% chance of living. There's no way we can let you see him."
Those two things are completely incongruous.
That's right.
Like, that makes no sense to me.
That's right. I said to my mom, he's either in palliative care and they have to let us in, or he's not. You know?
Right. I think that is tragic. What an unfortunate policy. If you want to take the risk.
That's right.
Now, and did you have COVID after that?
Previous. And so all of us had had COVID, and the 2 people in our family who had not had COVID had been vaccinated for well over a month, fully vaccinated for well over a month.
Right.
There was no reason why we were denied.
Unbelievable.
Let's take a look at what we had for a graphic here for what you saw there. This is the North Dakota Department of Health site, and it says, "My husband died in the hospital in May after being admitted with COVID." And this is a shortened version, obviously, of this, but it says, "My husband died in the hospital in May after being admitted with COVID. They wouldn't let us see him, though we all had it or been vaccinated. Even when they said he only had a 30% chance, we couldn't see him. And though he wasn't ventilated, he was sedated for 7 days, so we couldn't even talk to him." So that's
right.
even more tragic.
Yep.
You didn't even get to talk to him.
No, they sedated him on May the 10th, and we didn't get to talk to him, text him,
See,
anything.
I'm beside myself. Because we can argue whether he should have gotten ivermectin.
That's right.
We can argue about various cares. You cannot let a man die when his family wants to see him. How dare you? How flippin' dare you? This just it is. I cannot believe it. It's like the damn nursing homes where they don't let the loved ones there see. It's unbelievable. Do you understand what you're doing? Nobody gives a crap if you keep somebody alive 5 days longer when you don't let them see their loved ones. What the hell is wrong with you?
It is.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Real quick, let's show the next one. This is what you were talking about earlier when you said this is what the parameters were. Sharing stories is an important way to educate others about the seriousness of vaccine-preventable diseases. I hereby grant permission to the North Dakota Department of Health to publish my story and any accompanying photographs and/or videos that I may provide on the North Dakota COVID-19 Impact Wall website. The NDDOH, or Department of Health, reserves the right to edit content in a way that does not change the meaning, including but not limited to grammar, punctuation, length, offensive language, or mentions of illicit behavior. So pretty sure that they didn't take any of those things out of your story, but they did change the meaning.
They changed the meaning,
Yeah.
yes.
It says, I agree that I have the rights to grant the North Dakota Department of Health permission to use my or my loved one's stories.
Now, I will say on Friday after I saw that and when I reached out to you, I also emailed the Department of Health and the website people and said, this needs to come down immediately. Your terms say this. You changed our story. Bring it down or we will take action. And as of Monday, it was gone.
It was taken down.
So they did do that. I will give them credit there, but they didn't agree to they didn't follow their terms.
Yeah. That is
Yeah.
very frustrating. And I can't even imagine the awful time your family must have had. That is unconscionable and inexcusable. It really is. So we're
the
going
Hippocratic Oath, do no harm.
Amen.
Come on. What's more important than in your final days being around your loved ones? I'm just incensed. I cannot imagine. And I've been, I'm a plastic surgeon, right? But we do a lot more than just the boobs and butts. we take care of a lot of people, and I have taken care of a lot of people over the years at which point in time they needed their loved ones around them. To refuse that because you aren't going to let those people take the risk, the infinitely small risk after they've had it and or been vaccinated, shame on you.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. We're going to talk with Kristy Rose a little bit more. Stay with us.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Prairie Patriot Firearms and Training is the region's most complete gun and training center. 5-lane indoor range, a gun shop, and a certified training facility. Firearms training courses are offered daily for new, intermediate, and advanced shooters. If you're not comfortable in a classroom setting, Prairie Patriot offers one-on-one private lessons, from basic self-defense training to concealed weapons testing, along with a full line of guns, ammunition, holsters, and concealment clothing. Prairie Patriot, 3930 Memorial Highway, prairiepatriot.com.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Welcome back. It's No Apologies on Beck, where we get sometimes a
little upset.
Yeah, you know, and it's not. There's just nothing more important than having your loved ones around you at times of need. It would be better, and I talked about it on Facebook sometimes when it comes to nursing homes.
Yep.
It would be better to live 3 months instead of a year, but be surrounded by your loved ones.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I don't understand how bureaucrats and physicians, for God's sake, I don't expect bureaucrats to know squat. They usually don't, but physicians should know better. Anyway, we're going to let that go, and I want to talk more about the Department of Health and their COVID wall. I find it very disconcerting that they are editing your content.
I do too.
They're not letting you speak your story. You know, the lefties like to use authentic voice, your lived experience, all that bull crap, right? You have a story, they offered a place for you to tell your story, and then they edit it to fit their narrative.
Or didn't post it.
Or didn't, right. They edited one story to fit the narrative and then just selectively chose which ones wouldn't fit and say, skip it, we're not going to. The fact that your hubby, ivermectin, boom, boom, he's out, he's great, never been better.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they're not going to post that.
No, of
because
course
not. What is there? Where's the fear mongering? Where's the fear porn in that story? There isn't any.
There isn't any.
Where is the narrative to compel people to feel like they have no other choice but to get a vaccine that they maybe feel that they don't need otherwise?
That's right, exactly.
And I think that's abhorrent, absolutely abhorrent.
I also want to say that you are to be applauded for having treated your COVID symptoms with real natural style things, and that worked for you.
It did work. It worked very well. Yeah. And a lot of it is stuff that we use at home when we get the flu or the cold. And then I talked to a naturopath, and she said, you know what, add lysine. And I added lysine and quercetin, and we rocked and rolled. And yeah, it was a miserable week. But I would rather do that than take a jab.
Right.
Right. And the key here, for some viewers may be, well, I don't believe in that, blah, blah. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It was her choice.
That's right.
That's what matters. I don't care if she thought running around down Main Avenue naked would save her from, it doesn't matter, it's her choice.
That's right.
Just let people do what they think is best for them.
That's my body, my choice, right? That's what we're told.
Well, yeah. Allegedly.
Right.
So other people have chimed in on the COVID wall too.
Yep.
And the last thing I want to say about it is what bothers me. So it bothers me when businesses will use someone's unfortunate circumstances to do virtue signaling to try and up their business.
Yes.
And I think that there's a version of that going on here with the Department of Health. What they are doing is setting up a COVID impact wall, when what it is really is marketing, because they have been full-on coercive to try and get people to vaccinate no matter what. And then they said, somebody sat down and said, hey, you know what, Governor Burgum, I think the Department of Health, if we set up a wall with people's faces, it's going to make it real, and we will put up the faces of all the people that died. And at the end, because I read it for the first time today, at the end of each one, it's going to be a sentence to compel people. People, you must do this. Save yourselves, save others, care about your community, get vaccinated over and over and over. And so I think it's shameful. I mean, hey, kudos to you, great marketing, but you're taking advantage of people's unfortunate circumstance, people's personal misery, and using it to further your narrative that everyone must be vaccinated. That's also shameful.
One of the questions on the submission is down at the bottom. It says, what have you done to promote vaccination in the community, or something along those lines?
Wow.
So what work have you done in the community to make sure people get notified that they need to be vaccinated, right? I mean, could it be any more obvious that we're on a propaganda push here?
Right.
That to me
You know,
was...
This makes me want to run for governor just so I can fire all the damn people in the Department of Health. You guys are all gone.
Please do.
Jesus, Martha Quinn. All right, let's pull up a couple of, we've got some Facebook comments because they're talking about the impact wall. Excuse me. And, let's see here. Yeah, may we have some adverse reactions too. So people are saying, look, if you want, they're recognizing that this is just a narrative.
Right.
That they're using people.
Right.
And they say, what about for adverse reactions? They do happen, they affect real North Dakotans. And how about also, let's be positive, right? Talk about all the amazing survival stories with vitamins, remedies, and so forth. Lord knows you're not going to see any stories about hydroquinone or hydrochloroquine. Sorry, hydroquinone's a different thing. Hydrochloroquine. Hydroxychloroquine. I get the two mixed up.
I know. Sorry.
And that's embarrassing being a physician.
No, a lot of people do.
But yeah, hydrochloroquine, by the way, is good for lightening dark spots on your face. Yes, hydroxychloroquine, on the other hand, different story. Right. Anyway, let's pull up the next one here. And
maybe that's the problem the FDA has. They don't know the difference either.
That could be.
I mean,
yeah, COVID-19 doesn't cause dark spots. You don't need this.
Maybe it does.
Right to the impact wall. Impact wall. I love that. This is great. What about those that had major medical issues from the COVID shot? Let's make a wall link so that they can post their information also. If you do it for one side, do it for both.
Yep.
Those are very good posts. Excellent. Is there one more?
Yeah, last one. Someone is saying, again, they're asking the Department of Health, are adverse reactions welcome? Because these are told by regular people, and it doesn't say they aren't welcome. Everyone should be heard. And then Kristy responds back. They're editing the stories, and then you tell your story about your mom's post being edited, which is horrendous. So yeah, I think this is a big sort of come to Jesus moment that people can.
It's a wake-up call.
If you haven't recognized that the Department of Health is really a propaganda ministry, and I'm not exaggerating that, the North Dakota Department of Health is one of the outlets as a ministry of propaganda for what's going on. That's their job. That's their number one job, which, by the way, I'm going to have some segments on that because they're doing a lot more than all this fear porn on COVID.
We've seen it.
You guys need to go. Department of Health, get the hell out. So any last words that you would have for people that are experiencing some of the same things or maybe are concerned that they may be faced with these types of...
I think I would first of all say be brave and speak your voice. You know, there's that quote, speak truth even if your chin wobbles. And I think that's the truth, that people need to stand up for their loved ones. Our family was denied the right to advocate for my father. We were cut off. But I would go kick down the hospital doors for anybody else in this situation because what happened was wrong, and what the Department of Health is doing, what the politicians are doing with this virus is wrong. And if more of us don't stand up and speak truth, we're going to find ourselves in a hurt bag real fast.
Yep. Very well said.
Kristy, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right, when we come back, we've got another guest. This time our guest is remoting in from Hawaii. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
When you're buying windows, make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Hi, I'm Jesse with the Window Source. We only sell you the best windows and doors for the best price. Call the Window Source. Just because you pay less doesn't mean you get less.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go. We deliver for you.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
At Beck Communications, we've been planning for your future. Over the past decade, we've placed nearly 200,000 miles of dedicated fiber optics in the ground. Enough fiber optic strands to circle the world 8 times. Taking no shortcuts, we connected every home and business in our service area with dedicated fiber optics. It's your personal, unrestricted, unthrottled connection to the world. Best of all, this dedicated fiber means you do not share your connection. We call this intimate dedicated connection Beck Fiber.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. Well, Lori, we have a special guest coming up. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Let's make sure we get that connection straight onto. But first, I want to give you a little setup. Last weekend, on Saturday, I was watching my friend's feed from Hawaii, and she did a Facebook Live. And it was the most astounding thing I've ever seen, honestly. So the deal is, Hawaii is a very liberal state. Lots of liberal governance. They're a very blue state. But yet, they are doing amazing things in the state. For instance, I'm going to go back a little bit towards the Trump campaign. During the Trump campaign, there were amazing demonstrations taking place in Hawaii. It was phenomenal. It was just absolutely great. So what I did was I watched this video that she had put together, and I want to give you some little snippets of it so you can see what I saw from Blue State, Hawaii. Roll tape.
Hey guys, coming to you live and in color from Waikiki. So we're all here protesting the Hawaii vaccine mandate, the newly implemented vaccine passport. Nobody's having it. We're not having it. So we are here protesting in massive numbers. You see people behind me? Now I'm going to turn around, you're going to see people in front of me. Beautiful people all around saying no to vaccine mandates.
So you get the idea. They really want freedom.
Yes, they do. So there's a passport vaccine
Yes,
passport
that
requirement?
is just starting. And also the other thing that's going on is that the public workers, the first responders, the firefighters are all being required to vaccinate. The police officers are all being, there are 4 different public group of EMS people are all being required to vaccinate in Hawaii, and they're having none of it. They're like, no, we really want our freedom. We should be able to pick and choose. You saw a lot of those signs saying that in there. So I was just astounded that there were that many people in Hawaii who were standing up for it, because in my mind, I was thinking, okay, they're probably just going to go along with what the government tells them to do, but the opposite is true. And this actual group of people who protested the other day on, I believe it was Saturday, it was 2,000 people in Waikiki, marching all the way on into the evening. And what they have done is they have gotten several different groups together and then kind of coalesced them into one large group. And these amazing people are speaking out unashamedly, walking. And I was told too that if they are in one place for a rally, they can't do it. They can be like arrested. But if they're walking and if they're moving and they're doing a march, they can get away with it, so they can kind of skirt the onerous laws that they are trying to push on these people too. There are so many things going on with this too. On September 13th, there is a deadline that is looming where they will have to have passports, and people in the state of Hawaii are pushing back en masse over this whole thing too. They're trying to fight the mandates. There are 4 county mayors for various counties. They are put together as 4 counties in Hawaii, and these 4 county mayors have been tasked by the governor. So the governor pushed it off on the mayors and said, okay, you guys need to implement what you want for your counties. And those 4 county mayors are wavering, and the people are just contacting all of the powers that be as much as they possibly can in Hawaii. But the point I'm going to make is that in a red state like North Dakota, we can have marches and we can get people together too. In a blue state like Hawaii, they are just showing you how it is done. These people are very loud, they are very unafraid, and they are making their case that they really do not want the mandates or the passports pushed on them too. So the governor of the state is being onerous with masks, with mandates, with vaccines, all 3, and the first responders are resisting.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I hope they continue to resist. Again, if they want to get a vaccine, go ahead and do it.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. And as you saw, every time you see that, freedom of choice. That's what everybody's asking for. And I don't think that's unreasonable. This is America. People realize, wait a minute, this is the line in the sand that we have to draw, because if we do roll over on this one, we're not going to have any freedoms left. So,
and just a little sidebar that we have to revisit again and again. Why is it, if you're vaccinated, why is it that you want everyone else to be vaccinated? Number one, if you're not vaccinated, you're one of 2 categories. You already had COVID, or you haven't. If you already had COVID, your natural immunity is better than the vaccinated. So those people should be out. So to require them to be vaccinated is ridiculous. The second, you have the unvaccinated. You say, well, why do you want the unvaccinated to be unvaccinated if you're vaccinated and protected?
Exactly.
Well, now we hear, well, because they're causing the variants to be formed. The science is not there for that.
Right.
If the unvaccinated are causing variants to be formed, they're most likely, we're getting into the weeds slightly, most likely causing new variants, which are going to increase in contagiousness, if you will, transmissibility,
but not severity.
But not, yes.
Not as severe.
Right, exactly, not as severe. Whereas the people that are vaccinated against the spike proteins, the surface proteins, they, if we follow the science, are more likely, when they cause a variant, to cause one that has greater virulence, which means worse, more dangerous. And so the question is, gosh, maybe I should be mandating you don't get vaccinated so that you don't cause a more virulent strain to infect me, because I've not yet been infected. So this whole idea that it's mind-boggling.
I would like to show one little graphic quick, and this is for a website in Hawaii too. And these people in Hawaii are just doing a fantastic job of showing how it's done. The Freedom to Choose Mandate Free Hawaii. They have put together websites for these various groups. They have gotten people to join into their list. They give them information. They're going to have another great big, I believe it is on 9/11, they're going to do another one of these massive ones. And it's bandied about that they're going to go from 2,000 people, hopefully have 10,000 people next time. It's just the movement is growing in Hawaii in order to push back for their freedom, and so that they can, just live their lives in peace and harmony without all of these mandates coming down on them in Hawaii. So when we come back, I'm hopefully going to have somebody from Hawaii to talk to us. Stay with us.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Spas, etc. Yeah. You've come to know and trust us for over 18 years with the largest selection and showroom in Western North Dakota for our beautiful Sundance spas. Plus, you can pick out your next home experience with our selection of pool tables, shuffleboards, and fun accessories.
Spas, etc. Your relaxation destination on Main and Bismarck.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to pull them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Welcome back. It's No Apologies on Beck, and we are at our final segment. A little bit of a technical difficulty there, but we have another guest, but this time everything's working. Yeah. The stars are aligned.
I am so happy to have you on. Gary Cordery. Gary, now you are with the Aloha Freedom Coalition in Hawaii, and I am thrilled to have you zooming in today.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
So I got to see some video of the amazing protests that y'all had, and I got so excited to see so many people in Hawaii just stepping up and pushing back on mandates. Can you talk a little bit about what precipitated all of this?
You know, this actually started last January when our governor implemented these executive order mandates, and that things just started to spiral out of control. You know, the essence of who is who's essential and who's not, and who gets to be free and who isn't. So, you know, we've been struggling with that for an entire over a year now. And the mandates keep rolling out. Now we have passport mandates coming on the 13th, potential mandatory vaccines 60 days later. We have a shutdown looming. We've had shutdowns already. Hawaii is, undergoing severe tyrannical behavior by its legislative leaders. So the people are pretty fired up. This is the unedited version of the hearts of the people of Hawaii. Not the narrative, not the edited version, but the unedited version of the true people of Hawaii.
Well, I love it, and I'm so proud of you all for standing up like this. The pictures were just astounding to me. I was thrilled to see so many people getting out and being vocal about this, too. Now, I understand you have 4 different mayors, and they're the ones who are under the governor. The governor kind of tells them, you know, this is what you're going to have to do, and then they get to make their decisions in the individual counties. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's accurate generally, yeah.
Yeah.
So each mayor, the one mayor on Kauai, he's much more severe and restrictive than Mayor Blangiardi on Oahu. Although, you know, Honolulu is the main focal point and the capital of Hawaii. So his mandates affect 1 million people, which is, you know, 2/3 of our population, 1.4. But the Mayor Blangiardi, he seems to be present and authentic in a face-to-face conversation, but then the mandates just keep rolling out. So, you know, we've had a number of opportunities to get with the mayor. We're looking forward to a town hall actually coming up in the next couple of weeks. It'll be the first one in our state since this has happened. It's a big deal. We have such a problem with transparency here. Everything's done behind closed doors. There's no public access. There's no public feedback. It's my way or the highway. And so that's what we're up against here in Honolulu.
Yeah, this is America. There's no place for that, hiding stuff like that.
I really like your phrasing that this is the unedited version of the hearts of the people of Hawaii. Quick question for you. So we know that Hawaii generally is considered a blue state. Are you finding that the concern with the mandates transcends the political lines between the parties, or is it primarily a right versus left?
Well, that's a hard question. You know, the vaccines and the implementation of the vaccines through business has been leveraged by our governor and by our mayor by saying you can't have access to activities. You can't have access to public services. The school kids are having to be vaccinated to play on sports teams. And so they're leveraging that. So they're creating a great deal of discontent and division among the people between families and their relationships at work, at play, wherever they are. So I don't know so much if it's a partisan issue. I think there's a number of people, actually that's not true. There's a number of people who would typically be definitely blue in their politics. And yet they know inherently that in their conscience, something is not right here. The idea that this is being mandated and being forced upon the people without their approval or even their input, that resonates with people in general. So I think what you're seeing is, for a long time, the government has been really good about enrolling people and telling them this is to save your ohana, this is to save the kapuna, do this, get these shots, all this stuff. Do this because it's an act of love and it's a responsible thing to do as a citizen. But it's gone well beyond that now, and people are recognizing it for what it really is. So that's where the energy is coming from.
Yeah, Gary, I like the way you phrase that as well. And what we have is businesses being leveraged by government to accomplish a goal. And that is essentially the definition of fascism. So I love that you brought that up.
That's exactly right. This is coercion on the worst level. My neighbor wants to go to a D1 school and play football. His coach says, you can't play football unless you take a shot. His parents are absolutely opposed to vaccines of any kind. It's not necessarily this one. They're just opposed to vaccines in general. So now they've created turmoil and chaos within the family. This is just one small picture of what's going on in our state.
Now, you have had a number of marches now, but they seem to be just exponentially growing, too. And you have another one coming up, am I right?
Yeah, you're right. So the first one, we've had these for a year now. We started with Dale Bigtree and with those guys coming over. Then we had Dennis Prager here.
Excellent.
And then we had Dr. Jake Tapper here.
Wow.
A month ago. And we brought these guys in. We had big rallies. And they coincided with the worldwide rallies, you know, the ones that were nationally and internationally. And now we've started these marches down through Waikiki. We started with about 700 2 weeks ago. Last Saturday, we had about 2,000, and we fully expect 10,000 on Saturday night. So I don't like the word impressive. It breaks my heart that we're doing this. Right. This is not Pono. This is not right. We have the Aloha State where we're supposed to be love and ohana and family and all that. And then you see these tyrannical rules modeled after New York's position. And that's exactly what it is. These passports and this model, they didn't bring this up. They didn't invent this. They just borrowed this from New York City.
Yep, that is a shame.
And it's got to be, not only is it not family, I'm not going to even try and remember the Hawaiian word you used.
Ohana.
Okay. Ohana. But I mean, it's just got to be killing you guys economically, which also is hurting the family. Exactly. I can tell you personally that my wife and I wanted to go back to Kauai at least on 2 occasions since COVID started. There's no way we're even going to try and mess with the goofiness in Kauai.
You know what? You come here and you don't have your vaccine stuff in order. They put you in a hotel and they lock the room. They let you out for 1 hour a day. They bring you the meals to your doors, and you have to pay for the room and the meals.
I'd rather go to Moscow.
Wow.
This is tyranny for real.
It is.
People do not know about this, but this is exactly what's going on. They have dedicated properties in Waikiki where they're sticking tourists that don't have their stuff in play.
All right, really quick, we got 30 seconds left. So tell us about your website and how people can help and donate.
Thank you very much. So we're the Aloha Freedom Coalition.org. We're a grassroots organization. Our principal piece is liberty and freedom for all. We're nonpartisan. We don't have any affiliation. We don't have any corporate donors. We have the people. We, the people, are standing, and we will stand. This will end, and we will prevail.
Thank you so much, Gary. Thanks so much for telling us about your story. All right, when we come back tomorrow on the show, we will talk to Eugene Grainer and do an off the cuff. We'll see you soon.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.